just the basic elements of how to do posture practice. So you feel the feet, feel the crown of the head, feel the kind of horse stance, open the back, lift up the front slightly. So the head is pressing on the moon or whatever you want to call it. Shoulders just naturally open and the fingers engaged. And then you've got the idea of like standing in the wind, 6 directions, walking on the ice, all that stuff. And then inside the body, feel a kind of opening inside. And then you let the breath and the feelings and the chi fill and open that internal space. So if we just go through the postures from the first section of the form, we'll do that as a set. So just the main postures. Start from the V stance. And you can do some movements within it, so you can come up and down on this one. So we've used this as a standing posture before. And just think of things like open the back, suspend the head, use the front of the feet. Find this plumb line from the crown to the tail, or the perineum area, pelvic floor. Okay, so just briefly practicing the main postures. So we've got the V stance or the preparation posture. Without going through the form, we'll just move between them. So Wuji posture. Very simple. You've done it a lot of times before, so that's not really a challenge for you, that one. But again, just feel the points of posture. Weight forward, back open, tail dropping, kwa sitting, legs kind of springy. In the form, they're relatively straight in the Cheng form, but there's still a springiness to them if they're not locked. Open the back, open the shoulders, suspend the head, open the back of the neck. Engage the core, and then just open the inner space. And just take a couple of breaths in that posture. Wuji. Just some points in the posture there. You've got the floating the hands up. This is another position. You could practice just that as a position. Reaching out with the hands. Pulling in with the hands. Just pausing at these points. Pressing down. And then back to Wuji. So that's the beginning posture. If we go into ward off left, we've got the first part of it, the holding the ball position, and the front and the back. So you can change the weight around here and just feel into the shape and use the points of reference that we've talked about to open the back, etc. And you might have to re-engage the feet because the legs are at different angles. Find the center of the feet or the front of the foot. When we're doing this stuff, we can also do a mirror version. So turn and do the mirror version if you want. And it's kind of creating a body memory of the shape of the form. So heels are in line. Okay, so that's the first part, ward off left. From there, the next main posture, without going through all of it, is just the final position in the bow stance. So we'll take that posture, 70-30 hip width, and just work on your structure through the spine, through the hips, through the legs, and the arms. So the arm position roughly is palm or the wrist in line with your sternum or heart. The other hand is similar to the Ouija position, just down, angled downwards. And the fingers in this hand are pointing more or less forward rather than out. So just settle into it and explore it so you can create that shape. And if you want, you can try it on the other side with the right foot forward, but just the ward off left shape. So you can practice on both sides. So you're comfortable and can embody that shape however you do it. Okay, the next one is ward off right. So all we're really doing in the standing practice for ward off right is that. So there's not much to ward off right. It's holding the ball in the transition, but we'll just do the position. So again, it's 70-30, right foot forward, but we can do it on the left side. Arm is like a shield or holding a ball. The other hand halfway between hand and face. And in the Cheng form, just to remember, we're trying not to do stuff like that. So keep the wrist open. Try not to bend the wrist. The only time we really bend the wrist is at the beginning when we push the hand down for a moment and then release it. The wrist can be rounded but not angled. Ward off right. And again, try it on the other side, 70-30. You could take longer in the practice. I'm just going through them quite quickly just to map out the forms. This ward off right. So the next posture, just a position to practice, can be roll back. So we'll just practice this shape. So right hand, right forearm vertical or going vertical. Left arm, fingers point to your elbow like a ward off shape. And the weight in the back leg, somewhat between 51 and 100%. You can practice slight turn, so from square to turn, between square and 45 degrees maybe. You can practice that. With rollback, you could also do that, so you could change the arm. That's a useful practice. It's not in the form, that one, but in push hands. And again, practice left and right sides. So roll back, back leg, vertical forearm, and ward off receiving arm. So this is the backwards direction. This is the rolling. And when you're practicing with the posture practice, if you have a mirror or a window or something, you can look in, just check out your own posture, look for the vertical alignment, see what the legs are doing, to get a visual awareness of your body. Or if you're on Zoom. So that's roll back. The next two are quite simple, just press and push. So press. So it's kind of like a ward off with the other hand on the wrist. Elbows not too high, not too close in, but just open and relaxed elbows. 70-30 again. Press position. and then work through the body structure rather than just stand with the hands in that position. It's the whole body. So the whole body is a hand. So the press and the push are quite similar. Press and push. Before you get into the push, there's a moment here where the hands are down. So that's really like the an. We were doing that in the class last night, the touching downward. And the push comes after that. So you could just notice that, maybe more in the back leg and that. So there's two parts to push. There's an, and then the push out. Both of them are not involving straining the arms. Again, with this one, practice on the left side as well. So press on the left side this time. The arms go around the opposite way. So this hand is like the ward off and the other hand comes inside. And just work on your posture and the chi aspects, 6 directions, opening, releasing inside. And then you've got the push posture, also the an, which is more in the center as you're coming forward or back. It can be pressing down, pushing out. So in the form after the push, we have single whip. So there's quite a few parts to single whip, but we'll just focus on the end posture for now. So again, it's a bow stance, 70-30. The pushing hand is similar to the push. It can be slightly further out maybe. And the side hand is like the hook. So just the 3 fingers or 4 fingers touching the thumb. And the pushing hand and the hook hand are at the same height. So the name single whip is referring to like what do you call it? A yoke on an ox or something like that. So this shape. So the hook hand can be directly to the side or slightly further back. And the weight 70-30. The pushing hand can be in your center line or towards the side slightly. Not out here, but in line with your body. Again, you can practice that on the other side. It's a mirror version. The single whip's never done in the mirror version of the form, so it's maybe less relevant compared to some of the other ones, like brush knee. Okay, after single whip, we have raise hands. So raise hands is in a kind of L-shaped stance. The 100% on the left leg, the right foot on the heel, and it's as if you could slide past your foot. It's the position of the foot. The hands, imagine kind of clapping your hands, but the clapping is going to touch your elbow. The left hand will touch the elbow, but you keep that space. So they're just kind of pointing forward with a space in between. The left hand in line with your forearm or elbow, maybe the forearm, and 100-0 weight. So the challenge is to get all the internal practices going as well. But here I'm just kind of showing you the external shapes. Again, try that mirror image. Just try and make the shape and get into that position. It's basically the mirror image is play guitar, and the other one's called raise hand, but they're both in this form, they're both the same posture really. So play guitar and raise hands. And the forearms are almost horizontal, maybe slightly up. And then after that one, we have shoulder strike. Shoulder strike coming here. And it's the extension of that stance. So you step forward in the kind of L shape. This hand is in a sort of ward off, but down. And the other hand is like fingers pointing in the direction of your elbow or near your elbow, or pointing forward in line with your elbow. 70-30. And there can be a slight turn. Slight turn. Some versions, they'll have more of a lean into the shoulder strike, but just generally upright's okay. Again, try that on the other side. So just find the L-shaped stance. Shoulder strike. So there's already quite a lot of postures, and we're only about just past halfway through the first section. A lot of postures to get familiar with. And that's a good way to learn the form, to just get good at the postures. This hand is palm down in this version. Okay, from shoulder strike, you go into white crane spreads wings. So from here to here. So again, it's a kind of an L shape, this time on the ball of the foot. The back foot could be turned in slightly just for standing practice. In the form, it's sort of 90 degrees. So this hand is up, this hand down. So it's like brushing past the leg, opening out, like you're blocking above the head. Hundred zero. White crane spreads wings. And again, try it on the other side just to get familiar with it. And put in the internal elements as you make the shape. Or at least the external elements. From white crane, we go into brush knee and twist step. So just taking the end posture again. So it's a bow stance with the left leg forward. This position. So twist steps referring to this turning movement here, so that as we sort of square the hips with this arm pushing out. Brush knee, twist step. Sometimes called brush knee and push. 70-30. Body upright, squaring and turning the hips slightly to the front. And practice on both sides. So in the form, the long form, it goes left and right quite a lot. In this form, it does it once later. So once you make the shape, try and then go inside into the internal or the functional structure and then the internal. So there's 2 brush knees and twist steps. And in between there's play guitar, which we've already done. Then after brush knee and twist step, you have step up, deflect down, parry and punch. So we'll just go to the parry, the punch part at the end. So left foot's forward again, punch straight, arm almost straight, but not quite, to your center line or solar plexus. Other hand is angled across. The hand's sort of just in front of your shoulder. Again, 70-30 punch. And then try and work on your structure and the opening and internal aspect. Again, the punch you could try on the other side. It doesn't appear in the form like that, but worth practicing. Okay, and the last, well, it's not quite the last. The next posture after the punch is apparent close-up or withdraw and push. So the close-up part is basically cross hands. And you see the photo in Cheng's book of him standing like that. So that's just a point of reference there for the close. And in the regular side, the cross has the left hand coming under and the left hand is in front by the time I've got to here. The left hand in front. If you think of press, it's a bit like the same shape, but you're allowing it to come in, close. And the weight is this time on the back leg. So it's a close posture or apparent close up. And you could try that on the other side. So this time it would be the right hand in front. Doesn't really matter. Just working on the back stance and this shape. Elbows down, arms coming in, closing. But the arms are still active, still pung in the arm. From there, after you've done the close, you open and push. So it's just another push position. Which we've already done push on both sides, so that covers that. After the push, we have cross hands, which again is a bit like apparent close. So you can use cross hands as a standing posture, just as we've done that in the other set of postures. So wrists cross in front of your sternum, elbows about a fist distance from your body, and just practicing the sitting on the horse, opening the body. From there, if we're ending that section, we go back to Wuji posture, back to the V stance. So we start in the V stance. We sink in, step out, trying to be sort of heels in line, the left foot straight and across, and then turn on the heel to the parallel stance. If you find that difficult to get to there, turn this foot out, go in reverse, and figure out that step to get you into the parallel stance. From there, we do the beginning and then to the holding the ball posture. So that's turning, sitting in the back leg, sitting on the ball to the center, into the front foot, till the back heel comes off. And we're just working on the base rather than the hands. Then we turn a little bit, step forward into like the horse stance, shift. You can be starting to turn as you shift, but maybe initially not. Wait till the weight's more in the left leg before you turn into 70-30. That's ward off left. Come forward, turn slightly to the left, peel the heel, turn, step with the heel, horse stance, or into the bow stance. Into the right foot and then turn. So we have ward off right. Come back to do roll back, turn to the left, come forward for press, come back to do the an, forward and push. So in single whip, we come straight back, turn 90 degrees. I continue turning as I shift into the right foot. Then I turn to the right, that's to send the hook out. Turn to the left on the ball of the foot, and we step round into single whip. Turn on the heel at the end. So it's worth practicing that one a couple of times. So we'll do that again from the push, just working on the feet, shift back, turn 90 degrees, continue turning as you shift into the right foot, turn to the right, sending out the hook, turn to the left, opening out, single whip, stepping round, transition, and turn. Again, this is just the legs and the base. So when we get into raise hands, we come forward onto the ball of the foot, we're holding a big ball, step the heel just past the line of the other heel, raise hands position, come back, and then forward again to shoulder strike. So shoulder strike like an L shape. You can turn this foot in slightly for the next posture if that helps, but just think of them 90 degrees. Shoulder strike, then turning and stepping into white crane spreads wings. From there, we turn to the right and then back, step out for brush knee and twist step. So you step into the transition, turn when you're in the front leg, step up, and then step out on the heel, and that gives us raise hands. So that brush knee, step up, step out. So if we look at that from single whip, you've got turn on the ball of the foot, step the heel, raise hands, come back and forward for shoulder strike, turning slightly. Turn the other way and step across, white crane, brush knee, turn back, step. This is sort of sitting before you step out, across and turn. Step up. So at that point, I'm in like a very small bow stance. Then a step with the heel for raise hands or play guitar that time. From play guitar into brush knee, step out, forward, turn. Just focusing on the legs. From the second brush knee, come back, went to deflect down, parry and punch. Come back, turn the left foot slightly, shift across, do a quarter circle step round so you're at opposite diagonals. This is deflect down and parry, then peel that heel and step forward. Shift forward to punch. So we'll look at that again from the second brush knee. You come back, you turn the foot, you step, we shift first, then step in a semicircle. Turning into the front foot, peeling the back heel, step forward and punch. Shift to punch. Then the apparent close up is just a turning, slight turn back and forward into the push. The cross hands is a bit like single whip. You come back, turn 90 degrees. Then a shift and turn on the ball of the foot when the hands open. step back to parallel, just closing the form at that point back into the V stance. First thing to do is get this idea of Cheng's hand engagement, which he called beautiful lady's hand. So it's not bent, it's open. Fingers are not stretched out, they are not collapsed, they're just rounded and full feeling. Slight space between the hands, but there's also this feeling of like the hand is still solid. It's not going to go floppy. It's full. And people have said about Cheng as well as other teachers, their fingers felt like metal rods, like metal chopsticks if he touched you. So it's not a relaxed hand in that sense. It's relaxed, but it's full. Okay, so that's how you make the hands. And to begin with, the hands are just touching the legs lightly, but they're alive. And while we're doing that, also feel that arms are like wings when you're moving the arms. And the first position is from touching the legs to Wuji posture. We've done this already. So you've got float up, reach out or chi to the fingertips, pull in, drop the elbows, press down like into water, and then back to Wuji. So that's the beginning Tai Chi hand form. Wuji. Wuji, this is kind of like Pung. This is opening or chi to fingers. Closing or pulling it in, dropping the elbows, beginning the An, the downward force. Back to Wuji. So just that's the first practice. And it's the same as the form because we're standing in this posture. For this set of exercises, though, we're going to just stay in the parallel stance and go through all the hand movements. So just in a comfortable parallel stance, and we'll stay there. So it might seem a little bit strange because the angles won't seem the same as the form, but it's just to give you the hand movements. So from Wuji posture to ward off left, we have holding the ball, the right hand on top. Then we come into ward off left. I could go the other way. I can do mirror image, hold the ball, ward off left. To hold the ball after ward off left, I just turn the palms, float up the bottom hand. So we went from Wuji to hold the ball, to ward off left, to another hold the ball, ward off left. So you can create a loop of that hand form. And it's a bit like cloud hands when you make a loop of that, but we're staying just in the center for now, just to get the hand moving and the shape and position. That's ward off left, hand form. If you want, you can turn the body slightly. So as you hold the ball, turn a little bit, come back to the center, turn, engage the body a little bit, but you can also just stand like Wuji and do the hands. So from ward off left to ward off right, you hold the ball, and this time the hands come into the ward off right shape. From there, I can make another ball. I just turn the front hand down, inside hand up, and then I do the mirror form. Then make another ball. So the top hand is from the outside, bottom hand from the inside, and just go ward off right. So the ward off right movement is just this in the form. It's coming up the outside. After you've done that, there can be a slight turn. So in ward off right, there can be a slight further turn to the right. Hands are roughly the height of your mouth or jaw. Inside hand halfway between. the body and the hand. So trying to get that looping form there, ward off right, loop, hold the ball, ward off right, hold the ball, ward off right, just the mirror image. It would take some practice to get that comfortable, but it's worth doing. So when you make the ball, use the outside hand to be on top. So they're kind of going like this in that loop. And partly this is allowing us to just feel like I can make that shape automatically now because I just know that that's the shape. So it's kind of an extension of the standing in the individual shape, but we're feeling the transition into it. So we'll go back to ward off right. So now the transition from ward off right to roll back. So I'm in ward off right, turn slightly to the right. Right hand comes up, left hand turns in, and I turn. So just doing it on one side first. Here, ward off right, roll back. I could make a mirror image, just change the hands to ward off right on the other side, roll back, then go back to the original side. So we're just getting used to that transition, ward off right, roll back, and turn. We do it mirror side, ward off right, roll back, turn. So you're very comfortable with the shape. You can do it on the mirror side just to emphasize the awareness of the shape. If you can do it comfortably on both sides, then you probably know the shape well enough now. So you're just kind of drilling the hand form. This is what we do in Bagua, but in Tai Chi, they tend to neglect that. So people's hand patterns are not that good in Tai Chi. In Bagua, you're drilling the hands in a static posture. So Tai Chi could do with that. So that's kind of what we're doing. Left and right. You could just do roll back, roll back, roll back, roll back. Which looks a bit like the Bagua snake hands exercise, but just doing it with this part. So you've got the idea of the vertical forearm, which in Wu style is one of the push hands patterns. Okay, after roll back, we go into press. So there's a little swing of the arms to the side. This hand floats out, folds in, presses on the wrist. So that's after we've turned and roll back, then float the hands. You can either bring this hand down or just float to the side and out, fold in, press. It's a bit harder to make a loop of that one. Roll back, press. I could have the roll back on the other side. So both hands come in a bit. This one stays like a ward off and then press out. And here I'm just going through the individual movements. You might loop a few more of them together, like ward off, roll back, press. ward off, roll back, press. Just getting comfortable with hands. After the press, you've got the an or the downward direction, then push out. So we go press, press down, push out, press, and push. You can try the press the other way around. And push are the same on both sides. Press, touch down. So the image in each one is like your hands resting on a piece of wood and water. After you've split the hands open, so resting on water, dropping the elbows, pushing out slightly, or just touching outwards. Okay, so that's press. Single whip, we have to kind of contrive it a little bit because you're not turning all the way around. So just lengthen the arms and turn to the left. Then turn back to the right and make the ball. Send out the hook, float up the other hand underneath, and then drop your elbow and it's like a windscreen wiper or something going past, opening out, and then turning the palm. So that's from push to single whip. So you stretch the arms, turn the other way, make the ball, make the hook hand and the sort of ward off arm, move across, and turn out. And the hands will end up like this yoke position. So from here. Again, you could try that in the mirror image. Some of it gets a bit more fiddly, so maybe just do that on one side. So single whip arms. Part of that is getting this feeling of turning the waist, making the ball. So you can play with some of these sub movements. And just taking the opportunity to get the feeling in the arms. So that when you go back and do it, you have the feeling there. And it's not a big deal to do the posture. So after you've practiced these hand movements, then do the full movement. So we'll continue through that. So from single whip to cross hands. So after single whip, you go into raise hands. So the first part of that movement is like holding a big ball. Then you just bring the ball into raise hands shape. So from single whip, big ball to raise hands. Again, it's a bit like you're clapping that inward movement to here. Single whip, ball, raise hands. Okay, after raise hands, in the form, hands come down and into shoulder strike. So here, just let the hands come down. The right hand's in the center line, left hand to the side of your leg. And this is like sort of pung shape. The left hand comes up, palm down at your elbow. So that's very minimal movement. From here, down, and then up. So you've got raise hands, the foot slides in, the hand comes up. This is as the foot slides in, the hands drop, step out. As you come forward, this hand comes up. Down, then the left hand up. Again, I wouldn't do all of these in mirror form because it's just too confusing. So just raise hands to shoulder strike, the hand movements. There's almost nothing going on there. That and that. Okay, then from shoulder strike to white crane spreads wings. Again, it's quite simple. The upward hand comes down, the downward hand comes up. And the shape is roughly here. So this hand could be in different positions, but one teacher said it's like diagonally out from your eyebrow and turned out. This hand is just a bit like brush knee as well, down there. So that was from shoulder strike. Top hand down, bottom hand comes up and turn out. Shoulder strike to white crane spreads wings. So these are very simple movements. Don't have to spend too long on them. But again, just knowing the sequence of the arms, the flow and the transitions from white crane spreads wings into brush knee and twist step. So the top hand comes down your center line, a bit like cutting down, till it meets in line with your other hand and you swing the arms out slightly. So maybe until this is horizontal, this is like the flying movement. Then I fold this hand in, start to drop this hand. The hands are being my center line. Then they separate as it's brush knee and push. So pushing like that. In the form, it looks like this one. Just getting the accuracy of the arms. There's quite a few bits to that one. First part is down the center. Second part is swing out to the right. Then fold in, bring the hands into the center, and then separate as you push and brush. And when you're pushing, we're not pushing like that. Still this elbow down feeling, but extending out slightly. So from there, that was down, swing, fold in, push out. So most people probably don't do the fold in part sometimes. They'll just go push. But there's the folding in is like the fourth loosening exercise. When the hands come out, then in, then you push forward. So sort of closing in and then pushing out. This hand closes in and pushes out. Also like the flying movements, the way the hands come in. So you might work on that hand on its own, like the fourth exercise. Fold in, center, forward. Fold in. Brush knee and push. You could do that one mirror image from white crane. Down, out, fold in, brush and push. White crane, down, swing, fold in, center, brush knee and push. This will take some practice to get comfortable with it, but your form will be much, much better if you can get familiar with this, the hands will be just doing the right movements. From the first brush knee and twist step, we have play guitar. So the hand movement's incredibly simple there. It's just that. So from the brush knee and push, you just bring up the left hand into that shape. So it just goes like that. Just bring the hand up and make the shape. Really simple. Could do that mirror side if you wanted. Bring the bottom hand in front. Simple. From there, we go to the next brush knee. So from play guitar to brush knee, it's maybe slightly different to the first brush knee, where the hands are down and they swing out. And this one, the hands are up. So the front hand just kind of folds in. You could let them come down and swing out, but just fold that one in and then swing this one down and out. So we're now in the same position. Fold, brush, push. So it's just that first part is a little bit different to the previous one. This hand folds in, this hand swings down and out. Now I'm in the same place. Fold in, center, brush knee. From play guitar, I'm turning this way, so this folds in, this swings out. Turn back, fold in, push, and brush. I'm doing it mirror side, turning this way, fold, swing out, fold in, brush and push. Okay, from the second brush knee, just going through the last of the form. So from here, I bring this hand down and make a fist. That right hand comes down like a fist. I turn the palm to face the fist. Then I circle the arms clockwise. This is deflect down, and this is parry. So deflect down comes to the hip or the thigh, or just hanging there when you see Cheng and bend low. So we've gone from brush knee to here, swing round, deflect down and parry. In the form, it's going clockwise. The right hand's the fist. So I'll go here, down, turn the left hand to face the right hand, swing round clockwise. Back of the fist is deflecting down, left hand is parrying out. And you might just practice that. You could do that on both sides. Practice that swing, deflect down and parry. Again, you don't have to do it on both sides. It's just, you might just do that on both sides. Swing the arms round. Just to get used to the movement. After brush knee, the right hand makes the fist. Turn the palm, swing round clockwise, back fist, parry. From there, we just punch out. So we just go from parry, deflect down, to punch. And you can try that on both sides. That's a very simple movement. Straight punch, turning the fist so the thumb knuckle is up. So here the finger side's up at the beginning, then turning that way. And this hand is kind of across your chest. Fingers in line with your shoulder. The fist is at your sternum, or base of your sternum. So we've done brush knee, deflect down, parry, and punch. And I think the main part there is feeling that swing movement. From there, we do apparent close-up. So apparent close-up, you turn slightly, release the fist, start to bring this hand underneath. Slide the hand back so that you get cross hands. Open out and turn into the push. So it's punch, cross, open, push. Punch, cross under, close back towards your chest, open out, turn the palms. In the form, slight turning of the body. You can also see Cheng does it with almost not turning the body, which is more like in the Wu style version as well. It's maybe the older style, but slight turn also is okay. So I can practice the slight turn as I do this hand form. If you're trying to want to be clever about it, try doing the punch on the other arm, cross under the other way, open. So you can do one on one side, one on the other. It's going to take your brain a little bit of working out these things. Once you get it on one side, you can do it on the other side. After the last push, we've got cross hands. So in the form, just to do it as a hand form, you can just kind of open out, a bit like shibashi, come down, cross under, and press down. So from the push, open out, cross the right hand under, sit down slightly, come to cross hands, and then come to Wuji. Back to the push. So from the push, open out, circle under, cross, turn the palms down.